This is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. We begin tonight here with the breaking news. The Senate vote tonight on day 41 of the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. The end to this shutdown possibly in sight now. A handful of Senate Democrats siding with Republicans on a plan to reopen the government overnight. Now the key vote coming tonight and what it could mean for thousands of workers furloughed and for workers fired during this shutdown. Tonight, this bill to reopen the government does not have that key demand from Democrats, their effort to extend Obamacare subsidies to keep insurance premiums from skyrocketing for millions in the coming months. After keeping the House out of session for weeks, Speaker Mike Johnson is now ordering all members back to Washington. It appears the earliest the House could vote on this is Wednesday. This comes amid growing uncertainty for more than 40 million Americans who rely on food assistance. And on this Monday night, the chaos at the nation's airports. Even if the government reopens on Wednesday, it could take many days thereafter to get air travel back up and running at normal levels. Delays at some airports today up to 4 hours, and President Trump tonight now threatening air traffic controllers who aren't getting paid, saying they must get back to work. So where does this stand at this hour? Rachel Scott leading us off with the breaking developments. She's up on the Hill tonight.
Tonight, on day 41 of the longest government shutdown in American history, the end finally in sight.
The American people have suffered for long enough. Let's not pointlessly drag this bill out. Let's get it done.
8 Senate Democrats breaking with their party to support a bipartisan bill to reopen the government. But it does not include Democrats' key demand to extend Obamacare subsidies to prevent insurance premiums from doubling for millions.
What this Senate is about to do is make a horrific situation even worse.
As part of the compromise, Republicans promised to hold a future vote on health care, but not to actually pass any legislation.
It seems like the health care bill that Democrats will be putting on the floor has a very low chance of getting any Republican support.
Yeah, I would say it won't get any.
Given that Republicans won't promise to vote yes on extending insurance subsidies to prevent premiums from soaring for millions, I asked Democratic Senator Jeanne Shaheen why she's now willing to reopen the government.
Why put up this fight for so long if in the end you didn't end up getting your key demand?
Well, we aren't sure if we're going to get our key demand or not because we're just starting that part of the discussion. But it's time to end the suffering that people are feeling because of this government shutdown.
As the shutdown dragged on, President Trump ordered the Department of Agriculture to cut off food assistance for 42 million Americans. Hundreds of thousands of federal workers missed paychecks, and breaking from past shutdowns, the president fired thousands of others. The bipartisan compromise calls for those workers to be rehired. ABC's Karen Travers asking the president if he would do that.
Mr. President, that deal does reverse the mass firings your administration put through during the shutdown. Did you sign off on that, and will you abide by that if this passes?
Well, I will be. I'll abide by the deal. The deal is very good.
And David, just moments ago, the Senate officially passed this government funding bill. It now heads over to the House, where lawmakers have been out of town, out on recess for more than 50 days. They are now scrambling to come back here to Washington by Wednesday to vote on this measure, and then it will head to the president's desk for his signature. David.
Rachel Scott leading us off on a Monday night with the breaking news from the Hill. Rachel, thank you. This shutdown, the Senate voting tonight, the House, the soonest it could vote, as Rachel said, Wednesday. Well, meantime, the chaos at the airports today. Thousands of flights canceled, delays up to 4 hours. And the FAA tonight saying that even if the shutdown ends on Wednesday, the ripple effects could be felt for days. Here's Gio Benitez on that tonight.
Despite a deal that could end the government shutdown, tonight the travel nightmare only growing for passengers after over 7,000 flights were canceled since Friday, more than 2,000 just today.
I think it's ridiculous.
There was no reimbursement or anything, so I had to pay for a hotel. So yeah, it was madness, craziness.
We just found out this morning that we're stranded here until best case scenario tomorrow.
The FAA still forcing airlines to cancel flights because of that shortage of air traffic controllers. Today, more than 7,000 delays, the longest in Chicago, Atlanta, Boston, and New York. At Newark Airport, planes lined up as far as the eye can see.
I don't really care what your political persuasion is, but you should really call your senator.
This Southwest pilot sharing his frustration with passengers during the long wait for takeoff.
It's really frustrating for me because right now it's going to cost about 2 hours of our lives on the ground before we even take off.
Air traffic controllers are working without pay. Today, President Trump threatened to dock the pay for controllers who don't come to work, warning on social media that those who called out should leave the profession with no payment or severance of any kind. But the president said he'd be recommending a bonus of $10,000 for controllers who didn't take time off. Air traffic controllers say some of their coworkers have to take side hustles.
They're up till midnight driving Uber because they can't pay their bills, cannot pay for childcare. So now they have to figure out how they're going to come into work. That uncertainty, that fear creates a distraction that no air traffic controller should have to carry.
And David, even if the government reopens, and again, that could be Wednesday at the earliest, it could still take a week for air travel to get back to normal. David.
Gio Bonita is part of our team watching all of the effects of this shutdown. Gio, thank you. Tonight, we are also tracking this first blast of dangerous winter weather from the Midwest to the Northeast. In fact, freeze warnings tonight from Texas to Florida, all the way up to New York and New England. Wind chills in the teens and 20s coming. Already blinding snow in the Midwest in the last 24 hours. Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin now moving into the Northeast. Lee Goldberg has the forecast, and Alex Perez with the images already coming in tonight.
Tonight, the first major snowstorm of the season, wreaking havoc on highways across the heartland. The powerful system bringing whiteout conditions around South Bend, Indiana overnight, up to 2 inches an hour, and howling wind. More than a foot of snow in some spots, plows trying to keep up all over the region. Overnight, Indianapolis police responding to more than 50 crashes from midnight to 7 a.m. South of Chicago, Grace Butler, stranded on I-57 at 4:30 a.m., says these are the worst conditions she's ever seen. Chicago's iconic skyline vanishing into the clouds overnight. Even cold weather pros shocked at the instant winter.
Oh my God, it's just come out of nowhere.
It's a reality. It's just, I'd rather it be in December and January, not November.
And David, the evening commute here in Chicago has been a messy and tricky one, with wind chill temperatures that feel like the 20s tonight, and that cold now headed all the way down to Florida. David?
We knew it was coming, and now it's here. Alex Perez with the hat back on. Alex, thank you. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Lee Goldberg from WABC here in New York. Lee?
All right, David, the polar air pouring into the east, a biting wind here in New York, and 30-degree temperatures all the way down to Atlanta. Freeze alerts, Texas to Florida, up to the Carolinas, into New York City, a freeze warning. Snow alerts, Tennessee, all the way into parts of the Northeast, downwind of the Great Lakes. The wind chills to wake up tomorrow morning, teens and 20s from the Great Lakes to the I-95 corridor. In fact, the wind chills will be lower in Atlanta and Jacksonville than they will be in New York and Boston. We could get nearly 36 record lows in the southeast, sub-freezing Montgomery, Savannah, and into Mobile. At least it's a one-hit wonder. It does moderate midweek, but the lake snows go tonight into Wednesday, up to a foot of snow downwind of the Great Lakes, maybe more than that east of Syracuse in the Tug Hill Plateau. David.
Yes, you and I know lake effect snow very well. Lee Goldberg with us tonight. Lee, thank you. We turn now to the dramatic images showing a small plane crash right into the water in Florida. At least 2 people dead. The plane carrying relief supplies for hurricane victims, and it just missed multiple homes as it went down. Here's Ike Ajachi tonight.
Tonight, at least 2 people are dead after a plane packed with relief supplies for hurricane victims in Jamaica slammed into this neighborhood in Coral Springs, Florida.
We do have a confirmed plane down. It is submerged. It did not hit a home, but it took out part of the fence.
Look at the area right in the backyard there. You can see debris all over the backyard there.
The plane, a Beechcraft King Air, took off from Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport at 10:14 a.m. Minutes later, multiple security cameras catching it slamming into a lake just feet away from multiple homes.
The next thing we know is it just took a dive and went straight to the ground. No smoke, no sound. Just the plane that came in.
Fortunately, the plane did not strike any houses when it entered the water. It did strike some trees in the backyard of one of the homes.
Authorities say the plane was a relief flight bound for Montego Bay, Jamaica, packed with supplies for victims of Hurricane Melissa. David, the NTSB, FAA, and local authorities are investigating, and they're asking residents in the area to contact them if they find debris on their property. David?
Ike Ajachi tonight. Ike, thank you. Tonight, President Trump has issued sweeping pardons to more than 70 people who tried to help him overturn the 2020 election, including his former personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani. Here's Mary Bruce now.
After first pardoning more than 1,500 people in connection with the January 6th attack on the Capitol, Tonight, President Trump issuing full, complete, and unconditional pardons to dozens of close allies who tried to help him overturn the results of the 2020 election. Among them, his former personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, who pushed the false claim that Georgia election machines were controlled by Venezuela.
The company counting our vote, with control over our vote, is owned by two Venezuelans who were allies of Chavez, are present allies of Maduro.
Attorney Sidney Powell spreading the same lie.
This is the consummate foreign interference in our election.
Tonight, Powell and Giuliani both pardoned, along with Trump's former chief of staff, Mark Meadows, and 74 others. But Trump's move is largely symbolic. Presidential pardons only apply to federal crimes, and none of these individuals have been charged in a federal case. Still, a top Justice Department official making the purpose clear, posting "No MAGA left behind." And again, David, this only applies to federal criminal charges. Giuliani was found liable in a civil trial of defaming two election workers in Georgia in order to pay them $148 million. He still faces state charges of election interference in Arizona, and in D.C. and New York, Giuliani has been disbarred. David.
Mary Roos live at the White House. Mary, thanks. Tonight to the Jeffrey Epstein case, a top Democrat now says a whistleblower claims Ghislaine Maxwell is receiving preferential treatment at her new low-security prison, including personalized meals and private visits. The whistleblower also claims she wants to file a commutation application. Her family denies it. Here's Pierre Thomas tonight.
Tonight, a top congressional Democrat claiming convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell is getting the country club treatment while in prison. Congressman Jamie Raskin of Maryland says a whistleblower has come forward with a laundry list of alleged perks, including customized meals delivered to her cell, guests allowed to bring computers while visiting, raising the potential that Maxwell could use a computer to conduct unmonitored communications with the outside world. Maxwell was sent to a minimum security camp in Texas days after that controversial meeting with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who is also the president's former defense attorney. In that meeting, Maxwell claimed that President Trump was not involved in any illegal activity with Epstein.
I never witnessed the president in any inappropriate setting in any way. The president was never inappropriate with anybody. In the times that I was with him, he was a gentleman in all respects.
But critics say Maxwell was rewarded for that interview. Today, Raskin also claiming that the whistleblower said the prison warden was helping Maxwell with a commutation application. But Maxwell's brother denies all the allegations, saying she's not getting special treatment and is not applying for a commutation. But President Trump has not ruled out a pardon or commutation.
I'm going to have to take a look at it. I have to ask DOJ. I didn't know they rejected it. I didn't know she was even asking for it, frankly.
Tonight, the Justice Department declining to comment. And David, with Speaker Johnson bringing the House back in session as soon as Wednesday, it means that Adelita Grijalva, the newly elected Congresswoman from Arizona, will be sworn in more than a month after she was elected. David, she's expected to give the final signature to force a vote on releasing the Epstein files.
Pierre Thomas live in Washington. Pierre, thank you. Tonight, the U.S. military targeting two more alleged drug boats in the Pacific. Secretary Pete Hegseth sharing the video online saying two vessels were hit in separate attacks. No word on where the boats came from or who was on board. Hegseth says they were traveling along a known drug trafficking route. Overseas tonight, authorities are on high alert following a deadly car explosion in Delhi, India. At least 8 people were killed, dozens injured in the blast near a metro station at the historic Red Fort. Authorities say a slow-moving vehicle exploded near a traffic signal, damaging cars, causing a large fire. Tonight, the U.S. Embassy urging Americans to avoid the area and to stay away from large crowds. When we come back tonight, a major decision by the FDA that will affect millions of women, removing the black box warnings from some hormone treatments for menopause. So what this means in a moment. Also, the alarming images tonight, a bus crash, more than 20 hurt, most of them teenagers, and what we've learned so far. And tonight, the FBI is now investigating the mysterious death of an 18-year-old girl on a cruise ship. We'll have more on this in a moment here. Tonight, more than 24 people were injured when a bus carrying a church group overturned on a highway outside San Bernardino, California, landing on its side on Highway 330. Many of the victims are teenagers. Witnesses say the bus caught fire before flipping over. Tonight, the FBI is investigating the death of an 18-year-old girl on board a Carnival cruise ship. The body of Anna Kepner was found on the ship traveling from Miami to the Caribbean. The FBI is now reviewing video, interviewing passengers. Carnival is cooperating in the investigation. There's no word, though, on the cause of death. When we come back here tonight, 2 giant lottery jackpots now up for grabs, where they stand tonight. And it was homecoming, but the other team didn't show up. So what happened next? This is quite something in a moment. To the index of other news, the FDA is now lifting warning labels on hormone-based menopause drugs. Those long-standing black box warnings, as they're called, alerted women to possible risks of breast cancer, stroke, heart attack, and dementia. FDA officials now say the outdated labels discouraged women from seeking hormone therapy to ease menopause symptoms. Those labels are now being removed from nearly 24 pills, patches, and creams. Well, tonight, a pair of jackpots, more than $1 billion up for grabs. Tonight's Powerball drawing worth $490 million. The Mega Millions prize is tomorrow. That stands at $900 million. Good luck. Keep us posted. When we come back tonight, it is the season of homecoming all over the country. Well, the town where the other team did not show up, it might have turned into the best homecoming ever. Finally tonight here, the homecoming, America Strong. Tonight, the high school homecoming that nearly wasn't. In Medina, Ohio, south of Cleveland, the entire community, an extraordinary act of kindness and sportsmanship to make sure homecoming happened. The Highland High School varsity football team, the Hornets, taking to the field for what would have been their homecoming football game. It turned out the opposing team had to cancel because they had too many injuries, not enough players could play. But the entire community would then step in, filling the football stands anyway. The cheerleaders, the marching band performing in their own clothes, the school crowning a homecoming queen. And then all of the town's student athletes, all of them taking the field. The soccer teams, the tennis teams, the cross-country teams, the elementary and middle school football teams too, the kicking contest, a sliding mattress relay race, the girls playing flag football, the varsity football team cheering them on. And right here tonight,
hi David, welcome to Highland High School.
The Highland High School varsity football team. Number 25, Casey Miser, running back.
We have such an amazing community, and they all come out and support us.
Number 65, Cody Bendo, linesman.
Got the whole school involved, a bunch of fun for everyone.
And number 6, Nick Dubkowski, wide receiver.
We did make our senior year very memorable.
Tonight, all of those players telling us they are grateful that when the other team didn't show up, their community did.
From the Highland football team to our entire community, thank you for all the support. Go Hornets!
Go Hornets for sure. What a town. Go Highland High School. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.